Good afternoon. This is a redo of Detroit Greek and Latin's original presentation of chapters 1 through 3 of Tacitus Agricola. This broadcast will correct the glitch we had of the text of the video flitting away from the text of Tacitus. So I've recorded the original audio and will put a restored and better video presentation upon that. So I'll first start the recorded audio, and then I will go to the text of Tacitus, which you will view for the remainder of the presentation. So I thank you for checking in, and this is a project of Detroit Greek and Latin, recognized 501(c) public nonprofit dedicated to making it possible for anyone and everyone to study Greek and Latin on a highly rigorous basis. Okay, my name is Walter Melvin Roberts III, and I hold my PhD from University of California, Berkeley, Department of Classics, and I'm glad to bring this production to you as supported by our donors and persons who pay tuition to participate. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the thing about Tacitus is that he doesn't link his sentences and clauses the way a normal writer, in a straightforward fashion that say Cicero or Caesar does. The way I like to phrase it is that he has an appositional style. He'll lay out a noun and then he'll throw in another thing to modify it, and then another thing. So if you just take the opening bit, clarorum, virorum, factam oresque, posteris, proderet. Okay. Now it's very strange that this is really the equivalent of a noun. Okay?
Yeah, the whole phrase is it's like what would it be, an indirect quotation, or like it's like
no. It's just a noun, definitive as a verbal noun.
Yeah.
With factam oresque as the accusative object to hand down the deeds and characters, clarorum, virorum, of great men to posterity. Okay, so he just gives you that noun clause. Okay, and then he gives you an apposition, usitatum antiquitas. Okay, and the kiddie commentary I had said that a normal writer would have gone something like id quo, a thing which was practiced in ancient days. Okay.
Yeah.
But Tacitus in his appositional style doesn't give you the connective that you want.
Yeah.
And then so you have this noun clause modified by the second adjective, and notice this is neuter because infinitives are properly neuters, okay, in their aspect as nouns. So this whole thing, proderet, is actually going to be the object of omissit. Okay.
Right. Yeah, way down at the how far down is omissit? Yeah, I remember like, whoa, okay, so that's what he
right.
So
that's name nostri temporibus. Okay, and then he's going to throw in this quam incurios and suorum, itos, omissit. So
actually, I have one question with usitatum. So I'm not sure. Like I related that sentence. Antiquitatis as an adverb as was usual in the olden times.
No.
How do you?
Usitatum is just an adjective based on a participle.
Right.
A thing practiced. Let me just
accusative adjective then?
I would consider it to be an accusative because tradere is the object of omission.
Right. And neuter, you can't, there's always going to be ending in so, okay, yeah, I get that, especially because it's the object of omission. Okay.
Okay. So, I didn't look that up. Oh, no, okay, no, I'm wrong. It's just a straightforward adjective. No, it says it's the participle of usitor. Okay. So usitatus, usual, wanted, customary, common, ordinary, familiar. So ordinary thing, okay, in previous times, in ancient times, okay?
Right.
Ne nostris quidem temporibus, and he likes these ablatives of time when. So not even in our days, although does our age omit it, although it is uninterested in itself. In curiosa suorum, and the suorum can be either taken as a neuter or as a masculine. So even this,
right. So with the
yes,
I was gonna say with the ne nostris, does that mean like it was usual in olden times, but not in our like is the ne a but, or how would you like an add?
No, so the ne freedom is always just not even.
Okay, so so usual and
work very closely together, almost invariably mean not even in our times. Although, however incurious they may be of their own affairs, has the age omitted it. So there's a little repetition because it's kind of, or not repetition, but okay, nor even in our times has the itas, our age, put it aside, totally neglected it, although it's really incurious of itself.
Right, because I was wondering, is he like comparing his times as being not as good as the past times when they did it, or how exactly he's speaking about the past?
Oh no, he's definitely that'll become clear in a little while.
Right.
He's definitely saying that he lived in an age that he suffered his crime of life under Domitian, where you really couldn't praise virtue, and that with Nerva and Trajan, you have a new age breaking out, and now it's possible. So that's what he's going to be dealing with. So, so now it picks up quotients, magna aliqua ac nobilis virtus, vicet et supergressa as vitium parvis, magnisque civitatibus commune. Okay, so here, he gives you these clauses that are just like crammed with, just like, golly gee, it's just crammed with ideas. So, quotient as often as some great and noble virtue, and he means some great and noble virtuous person, okay, conquers and supergressa has risen above a vice common to large and small states.
I see, yeah, because I've got a lot of the same words, but it's hard to have them strung together in that way. So, because I'm really trying to get what he's saying about, like, because I know he's writing this and he's giving you his justification. Why am I writing
about it? The best thing is really to work out, the Latin as best you can and reread it and then consult your commentary because, to get the details of what he's saying. But see here again, he gives an opposition to Wittium. Is this next phrase, ignorantiam recti et invidiam. Okay, ignorance of what is right and jealousy. So somehow this, so he's foreshadowing what he's going to say about Agricola, his father-in-law, that despite having served under Domitian, he could still defeat and rise above the vice, okay, of his own time, okay, ignorance and jealousy, okay.
And Walter, I think we got our first join here.
So, is that you, Paul? Okay, Paul, very good. Very good. Are you looking at do you see the text on the screen?
Yeah, sure do.
Because I just we might as well just look at the text and talk about it. So we just finished the first sentence, which I'll go over again just very quickly for you. Justin, how much Latin have you had, Justin?
In grad school, I had a year and a half, and I haven't picked it up since graduation, so it's been a while.
Yeah, so Justin, who's basically subsidizing this presentation, has had a year and a half of Latin and then hasn't really done much Latin in a year. So to try and jump into Tacitus is kind of a difficult author. I would be doing some Cicero or something, warm up, but
we don't give up.
I'm happy that we're doing this because I was just reading that easy Cicero the last 2 weeks. So I explained that Tacitus' style is basically appositional, and he uses the language in a very strange way or unusual way. And so he opens with this basically now clause, but which is based on an infinitive. To hand over or to transmit to posterity the deeds and morals of great men. And then he puts in apposition this neuter accusative adjective, which was customary, end quote, which was customary. He doesn't, of course, have the end quote in this text, which was customary in ancient times, okay? Not even in our times, although the age is curious, okay, does our age omit it, okay? And then
when you say suorm, is that suorm as in our, like, how do you get age in that parenthetical they have?
Oh, from this itas.
Yeah.
Nor does the age incurious of its own affairs or of its own men. Okay.
I see. Yeah, because my text, the double shade green, that one has incurious suorm in its own parentheses. So I thought that was its own phrase, but it's supposed to be paired with itas.
Right. It again is in apposition. Okay. Not really in apposition, but just modifying itas. So we could do that. Okay. Not even in our times does the spirit of the times omit it, although they are incurious of themselves, although they're not really that interested in themselves. Okay. And then quotients, as often as some great and noble virtue conquers and rises above the vice that is common to small and large states, i.e., ignorance of right and jealousy. Okay? So it's setting us up for what the story is going to tell about his father-in-law who served under Domitian, but nevertheless managed to be a man of virtue and to keep his head low enough not to attract the jealousy and wrath of Domitian.
Right. So I want to make sure that I'm pairing omniscient correctly then. So if you try to rearrange these phrases to make sense in English, and even in English it's kind of difficult. Subject to this first phrase is the itas, the age neglects to relate the deeds of great men, or how would you?
It's kind of like not even in our age, in our times, does the age neglect to transmit to posterity the deeds and morals of great men.
Oh, I see. So the age does not neglect because of the ne quidem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like this ne quidem has to carry over into giving the negative to omissit.
I see. Yeah, because I think I had the phrases too chopped up, and I wasn't connecting them.
Well, it's very hard to put, especially in the beginning part, to put it all together. Oftentimes the main verb and even the subject get buried in these rather Byzantine constructions that Tacitus created.
Yeah. So, and then we go to the quotients. So quotients is a modifying omniscient that's sort of beginning its own phrase.
Yeah.
As often, because I think yours has a comma where mine does not. And so that, again, the punctuation can throw everything off. But, so it's saying, as often as somebody great and noble see. Greatly
Weaken
noble
and
conquers.
progressive, defeats and rises above the vice. Video.
Yeah.
So if we were to break it up, we do that, and
and that's one thing I have. So supergessa est video, isn't that a passive construction? Like, is
no, supergredior is a deponent.
Okay, that makes sense.
Gredior is
They are surpassed by vice. That doesn't make sense. Okay.
okay.
The personification of virtues here is significant.
Right. I mean, my commentary said that the virtues actually is referring to an instance of merit of an individual, almost some great man. So yes, it is a near personification, just like Itos was a near personification. So yes, it is very interesting the way he the way he's presenting this.
And how are you taking suorum? Is neuter or masculine?
I heard it can go either way. So I'm not really committed to one or the other, but my commentary said it could go. One of the commentaries I was using said it could go either way. So I almost would prefer to say neuter, just because incurious about its own real ultimate values or whatever. Because it does probably have curiosity about certain people, but not in a good way. But I don't think it really. I think almost an ambiguity just carries. And he doesn't have to be committed one way or the other.
So you either take it off of virorum or facta.
Oh, suorum?
No, yes.
Oh, I take it with incuriosa.
Oh, yes.
As an objective genitive.
Referring to...
incurious of its own.
But it's either referring to the facta in line 1 or the virorum in line 1.
Ogilvy and Richmond, and they're saying the analogy of he says the reference is to Arminius, suggests that suorum here is neuter, its own affairs, i.e., contemporary events.
So facta.
I guess you could say facta, but I think it's more just I guess you could, if you were going to supply something, that is probably what you'd have to supply. And then it says elsewhere, Tacitus uses the substantival sua only in the accusative, but the conventional character of the preface makes it implausible to take suorum as masculine. Okay, clarorum virorum. Okay, so I guess Ogilvy at least wants to take it as neuter. Although it's incurious of its own affairs. Okay.
Okay, so because that's sort of like the main part of the sentence. So sorry, let me move back. That's sort of like the main part that we just went over. But then we get to all of these ablatives, the parvis, magnus, quake, quietat, commune. And so they conquer.
No. Commune is a neuter.
Okay.
Commune is a neuter. Okay.
Okay.
No,
let me check it out.
Commune is a neuter. It's third. Wait, am I losing my mind?
No.
Okay, commune is neuter with William.
Yeah, so parvis magnisque quietatibus.
It's dative. Common to belonging to small and large states.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was feminine. Don't ask me why I put feminine. It doesn't make any sense.
Let's just keep going, and we'll never make any progress. Okay. I suspected that this session we wouldn't actually get past the first two chapters just because they all are so weird and dense, and we'd have to pick up ground in subsequent meetings once the narrative actually starts, so we can get some movement going. Because these opening paragraphs, almost with any classical work, the opening paragraphs, much like Libby's preface or something, it's just so, it's just so, there's so much going on that we do have to take our time, but I don't want to get too stalled. We can always go backwards and ask questions subsequently. Okay, so let's just look at the next. Sed apud priores, okay, ut agere dignam mormoratu pronum magus quae in aperto era, ita. So you got to get previous ages, okay, agere digna, to do things worthy of being remembered, okay, was ready, was a easy thing, was just a natural thing, and magus in aperto era was just a more magus in aperto is a kind of strange expression. Magus in aperto, excuse me, magus in aperto. Oh, a favorite phrase of Tacitus, both in the literal and in the derived sense. Okay, and he says compare English a fair field, and I think that's kind of archaic. But was just more open and more just something that was in the air. Because what he's saying is that virtue has to go underground during the mission.
Right.
So it was easy and was just something that could be done openly. It was more in the open.
Commonplace.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
That's like to make sure that I got the fact that there's an error on it. There was more readiness, for worthy acts to be remembered.
Yeah, this is just a perfect example where Tacitus likes to put together. Here he has this neuter, but coupled with magisque in aperto, which is just this weird adverb with a preposition. So he really likes this interkinity. He doesn't hardly ever gives you parallel items joined together.
Right.
So,
well, one thing I have a question about oot there, because whenever I see an oot, I always think, okay, we have some sort of clause, maybe.
No. See, that's why I point out here, ut, ita. Just as, so too. The ut and ita are working together here.
Right. So it's not like
about any type of subordinate, and also you'd expect a subjunctive then. No. You have to see the ut and the ita, just as so. Okay? So, ita, calaberimus quisque, ingenio, ad prodendam virtutis memoriam sine gratia ab admissione, bonae tantum conscientiae pretio ducebatur. So this again is just one of these loaded phrases. Let's just break it up into its little parts. Okay, so each quisque, each person who is very famous or celebrated ingenio on account of their genius. Okay, and quisque very often takes a plural verb. It becomes a plural subject actually, because it means every celebrated person of special genius was led, ducebatur, was led, okay? And then that's where you get the ad prodendam memoriam, the gerundive, towards displaying or putting forth memory of his virtue. Okay? And then you get these two balancing ablative things. Without gratia aut ambizione, and what did they say for that? Without predilection or thought of self-advancement. Yeah, okay? Not trying to please anyone or to advance himself. And then you get this, but only, and so he won't give you, Tacitus just isn't very nice. He won't give you a but. He won't give you a set. But only for the reward of a good conscience. And conscience is what we want here. Let's see, they had it, consciousness of well-doing. Only with the reward only of consciousness of well-doing.
Right. Now, is tantum giving you the only?
Yeah, tantum is the adverbial only.
Okay, because I had it like there were like tantum as being like to such a degree, but it also means only then in this case.
Yes, it's the adverbial that means only.
Okay.
You're thinking of it when it's an adjective, it's adjective.
I see. Right.
But tantum as an adverb meaning only. Okay? So each superior individual was led to display or to produce a memorial memory of his virtue. And then we have these two contrasting additives of talking about the motivations. Not because of he was trying to puff himself up or win favor, but only for the reward of knowing that he'd done good. And so,
okay, sorry.
What did you say?
I've got a cat up here who's trying to chill.
Okay, well, yeah, let's try to keep the inspections down because people are going to look at this and of course, I'm going to try to watch it. Okay, so plerique sua pizzi vitam narrare fiduciam potius morum quam adroganti arbitrati sum. So here again, we just have the standard. Okay, and so most people, or many people, were thought, or no, I'm sorry, it's a deponent. Many people thought to narrate their own lives themselves. Okay, and here he has these contrast motivations. Potius rather, I'm trying to think where. Fiduciam potius morum quam arrogantia. I'm trying to think what these accusatives are hanging on to.
It's like a through, or through arrogance, but that was me trying to reach what the accusative was doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. See, here we go. It's another just pure apposition. As my little commentary says, a token of good faith, more than arrogance with respect to morals. So it really is this narrare. I mean, the fiduciam potius morum quam arrogantiam is really just again an apposition to the previous phrase, suam itsi vitam narrare, and it's almost as another writer would have said causa and used a bunch of adjectives. Fiducia causa potius quam arrogantia. You guys are following me?
So you're saying their motivation there was more confidence than arrogance in this case.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now he's going to give a couple of examples. So nec id rutilo escaro quitra fidem aut o tractatione fuit. And here's another very good example of him putting these attributes that are not parallel. So neither was this thing id, i.e. narrating one's own life, neither was it kitra fidem, and he uses kitra in the sense of sinnet, nor was it without good faith, or was it for them a matter of people criticizing them, obtractatione. So, we have this double day of construction to be an X for Y. So it was not a matter of objectionable behavior to either of these folks, nor was it without, nor was it beyond belief and good faith. Okay.
Right. It wasn't without its honesty.
Yeah, and these figures are both going way back to 100 BC. They're all right after the Gracchi. And so he's saying, and so virtutes istem temporibus optima aestimantur, quibus facile me giguntur. So here again, he loves these datives of time when. And so, just as virtues are best valued or esteemed during the same time period in which they are most easily brought to birth. Okay. Okay, so all of this is like what do they call it? A foil against its own recent times. You couldn't have virtue come to birth because the whole environment, the air was just sick with sycophants and this and that. So this is a rather dense, just judgment on the times. And now he finally comes back to himself. But nunc narrare turo mihi vitam de functi hominis venia opus fuit. And this is just it's just so strange. Okay, so there is need. So now there was need for getting writing license, and then you get this narraturo, for me about to narrate the life of a dead man. Okay, I get approval, or I had to, what are they doing with Waynia? Excuse me, just for 1 second, let me check my commentary, what it says. I had to seek permission, okay? To me, about to narrate, so this is their future infinitive, which, okay, Waynia, I guess which, I would not have had to seek. I would not have thought in cusaturis if I was about to blame someone. If I was about to indict someone or accuse them of, pissing on the emperor's polygraph or something, okay, I wouldn't have to ask anyone's permission because that's just what they did in those times. But because I was about to, yes?
Is incusaturis, I know it's like a future active participle, is it sort of acting like a substantive, like the man about to criticize? Or the man?
No, it's an adjective, and it's going back to the mihi. Then it's actually modifying the I inside of petissim, which I would not have thought if I was going to accuse someone, if I was going on the intended to go on the attack. So it's almost the participle is equivalent to almost a conditional, which I would not have had to ask if I was going to go into attack. And now he gives his final apposition, saiwa et infesta virtutibus tempora. So savage and hostile to virtuous men, maybe, was the age, or to virtues in general was the age. So here again, we have this personification or semi-personification. Okay, so let's look back at that. It's very, very dense. There's no question about it. And I think we did good if we're going to take it 40 minutes to go through it. So right. Anyone have any remaining things they want to look at next right now?
Well, there's his own timing, for example, when things were bad, when it was the guy criticized, wouldn't need permission. When he says his own times, he means his own times in the time of Domitian, not when he's writing right now.
Yes, that seems to be the case. Although
right, so here his times I get a little confused. Him under Domitian or him now?
You mean that last little bit? He definitely was talking about the times under Domitian.
Okay, good. Yeah, because the first
in section 3, he's going to now talk about the new age that allows him to go and actually do this now.
Right.
Okay, nunc denum reddit animus. Spirit finally has now returned. Okay. So let's just look at the second part. And then so now he's in his present standpoint, and he's talking about. My commentary said that this legamus could technically be either perfect or a present, but they threw taking it as a present. Now we read at present, okay, that capitala fuesa, that it was a capital offense when Paetius Dracea and Priscus Aetius were praised by Ruleno Rustico and Ireneo Senegione, respectively. Okay?
Which the cum is like a when clause.
Yeah, it's definitely a when. Because you have the subjunctive with it, the imperfect subjunctive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Okay.
Would you put capitale in these a neuter, I think, right, but the accusative then?
Yeah, it has to be an accusative because it's the subject, because it's the infinitive. All subjects infinities are in the accusative.
Supplicium, I suppose, is understood there.
Yeah, exactly. Something like supplicium is understood. Okay, but again, Tacitus loves to not give words.
Yeah. Always fun.
And you get used to it, but oh God, it's hard to get used to. Okay, so here we go. Neque sent. Okay, neque in ipso modo auctores said in libros quoque eorum saevitium. Okay, and I guess do we want another fuissa? Or is he just saying, fuit, or I'm not sure, but it is an apposition. For neither in the authors themselves only, but also, quoque, in the books of those authors, saevitum est, okay? There was savagery. Okay? And there was savageness towards not only directed against the authors, but also in the books themselves. And now he's going to unpack that with this ablative absolute. Delegato ministerium praeriris, okay? A board of 3 men having been delegated for the purpose that monuments or the tokens of memory of famous and talented men, parissimorum ingeniorum, and would be burned in the public places, in the committee and in the fort.
I have a question. Is delegato triumviris ministerio just an absolute?
Yes.
So the triumvirs have been the ones delegating the task, or no?
They were the ones who were assigned to carry out the task.
So the triumvirs having been delegated the task.
I think it's more like a board having been delegated of triumvirs. I think it's triumvirs to be. Is it genitive?
Dative.
Oh, dative. A board, a task having been delegated to the triumvirs.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was happening, but
that makes sense. Okay, yes.
That's like.
Okay, so now we see, that the monuments be burned in the forum, the monuments of famous and clarissimum ingenium. Okay.
So monumenta here are livery books.
Yeah, they have to be. Yeah, he's picking up the libro.
Yeah.
And he's playing around with this whole idea of monumenta, memoria, memoriam. He's playing around with this whole idea, and that'll lead to a very cool thing he does a little later. Okay, and then so now he goes into ironic, as if Tiliket, okay, by that fire, and then you have 3 subjects, vocem or objects, vocem, libertatem, and conscientiam. The vocem populi Romani, et libertatem senatus, genitive, et conscientiam generis humani, aboleri arbitrabantur. As if they thought by that fire to abolish these 3 things.
Mm-hmm. Like they were thinking it would work.
Right. Yeah, that's all food burners think they're going to do.
Sure.
But anyways, so now we get these wonderful 2 ablative absolutes. Explosis in super sapientiae professoribus, atque omni bona arte in exilia acta. So you see how this is working, Justin? Arte in exilium, all good arts, all good practices driven into exile, and on top of that, professors or philosophers, professors of wisdom having been expelled.
Right. It's like in addition with these 2 things having obtained.
And then he gives another result clause, ne quid usquam honestum occurrere. Thus anything at all ever could happen.
Right. I have a question. So is naquid, is that a fear clause? So it's like
this is a negative clause of fear, and of course, the quid, is aliquid, but after ne, the ali goes away. Lest anything ever good happen. Where to occur.
Oh, it's not. That's right. It's an aliquid, so it's
right.
Not anyway. It's anything honorable.
Okay.
That's really more of a result or purpose. What do you think?
I always blurred the two. You're right. It's purpose. Lest anything of good ever occur. I mean, that's the proper. That's what it's really a purpose. Negative.
Right. Like if you, I think I'm trying to remember way back when we lock it.
Let's just
their meanings. Yeah.
Okay. Dedimus profecto grande patentia documento. Okay. But I think we have given, and he's imagining that he's already produced the work, that we have offered a fine or great, record of patience, of long suffering. Okay. And I guess he's speaking of his age, actually. What he's going to say here, again, we have ab sicus ita, just as ventus itas videt quid ultimum in libertate esset, just as a previous older time saw what was the furthest extreme that existed in liberty, and he's referring to the chaos of the Republic. So we saw what was the furthest extreme that was possible in servitude. Okay? So it's kind of like Tacitus' damned if you do, damned if you don't world. Okay. Adepto, and so we get these wonderful, another set of a couple of, having adepto per inquisitiones etiam loquendi audiendique commercio. Okay, so commerce having been taken away through, a police state, through the sycophants, through everyone being under the eyes of the government, even commerce in speaking and hearing. No one even talked about these things anymore. And then this lesson is just one of these beautiful Tacitian, just dictum, okay? And so we have our pluperfect subjunctive of contrary to fact. So, and we would have lost memory also itself with our voices if tam in nostra potestate esset oblivisti quam tacere. And you only have to, you can only say it really positively in English. If it were as easy to forget as it is to keep your mouth shut.
Right.
The tam,
like nostra, like in our power, sort of like, right?
Right, exactly. If it were in our power as easily to forget, and see that's where the tam is so heavily weighted. If it was so much, or as much in our power to forget as it is to just be quiet, to doctor it. So he's saying there was this underground spiritual life, the longing for all these things, but they couldn't really step out forward in them. And that's why he's going to now transition to Nerva and Trajan. Okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so nunc denum, now at last, reddit animus, spirit has, life has returned. That's probably just life. What do you think, Paul? I mean,
Spirit?
Or just even life, right? I mean, I'm not sure. Animus, I'm not sure how you render animus. It's an interesting choice of words. Okay?
Like the courage of the people or that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's interesting. It's kind of along those lines. But anyways, I'm not, my notes don't say anything. You're suggesting as to how you would handle it.
Like the breath of virtue.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's precisely it. Something like that. Exactly. Okay? And then it goes, et quam primo statum beatissimi saeculi ortu. Okay, so primo statum is kind of strange. It's coupled for emphasis, my commentary says. So from the first, immediately rising or beginning ortu of this most blessed age. So it's saying it up for Nerva, Kaisar, and then where's our verb? He misquered. He allowed to mix things previously olem dissociabiles. Okay, so that's a little weird. I mean, it's not really.
No, it's just an apposition to principatum libertatem. And
Right. Yeah, thank you. Okay, both rulership and liberty. Okay, now he's going to go to Nerva, and Nerva and Trajan increase the felicity of our times on a daily basis, quotidian. Okay. Now this next bit is really kind of tortured and kind of strange, and I myself have not been able to satisfy myself why he slips into ab sum serit. Well, he already had misquered. So I myself am undecided. Oh, I get it. Okay, so this has to be although. So pom, is that what's getting our SDs? I mean, are we taking these to be perfect subjunctives or future perfects? Misquered, ab sum serit. Do you have an idea? I was kind of
I have a perfect subjunctive. Yeah.
Pom.
Yeah, like though Nerva mingled things, and though Trajan is making things better.
Okay. Let's go with that.
then you also have algeat, present subjunctive.
Right. Oh, okay. So that helps us out because Nerva has died, right?
Yeah.
And now Trajan is increasing on a daily basis the felicity of our times. Okay. Nor, and this gets really weird. Securitas publica. Ogilvy has a good note saying that Securitas publica or Securitas Augusti was a personification of the public and political security which the world owed to the imperial government and was deified like felicitas and other abstract ideas. So it says, the legend Securitas Publica first appears on the coins of Hadrian, but was already a current conception, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So when it says felicitas and Securitas are similarly juxtaposed, to Securitas vows were offered and altars erected and sacrifice made. So that's why he can slip into this language of sacrifice with Woti and Wota and stem. He can slip into this language of prayer and sacrifice because Securitas Publica is itself a semi-divine, here personified. Okay, but and my commentary is saying that we need a verb for this first clause. We need a verb something like let me see, what does he give? We need a verb something like
why not just ad subserit?
He didn't like here's what he said. He said ad subserit was here we go. Okay. This is the note on next step. He said an extremely phrased expression for our prayers for law and order are now in the process of fulfillment, and we are encouraged accordingly. Okay? Or public security is not merely framed hopes and prayers, but has gained the assurance of her prayers, fulfillment, and strength therefrom. And he says, with the first clause, some words like concipere is supplied by zeugma. Because he just doesn't believe that stem and Walton can really be covered by obsunceret.
Well, that doesn't really make sense because of the nec modo said. Not only did they, but they also assumed a fiducia moti global. It seemed to me.
Okay, I think you could be right. I could have been misreading this, Paul. The other commentary says that stem ac votum is grammatically those words depend on obsunceret, which, however, logically is connected with fiducium and rubor only. Okay, the usage is called a zeugma. He has not only indulged in hopes and prayers. Okay, so I'm not too bothered by it, but it depends on how far you want to spin obsunceret. Okay, she's not. I mean, can you really obsunceret prayers and hope? I guess you can, eh? She's not only taken, so the public safety did not only take on hope and a wish, but it actually took upon itself faith, confidence and strength on account of the prayer itself. That the prayer itself is being fulfilled. Of the prayer having been fulfilled. So it's really is. It's a strange little. I think this is one of the most. It's a little hard to follow.
Right. Well, that's one thing. Absunceret has swaseret instead.
Pardon?
Instead of absunceret, I have the swaseret instead as the verb for my translation or my version of it. And
okay, well, does he defend it in his commentary?
I could check. Yeah, probably. There's probably.
Yeah, why don't you get back to it after you look, but yeah, he has to defend it somehow. But anyways, okay. So let's see if you can find it. And this next bit is not hard. And this has to be an ablative. Okay. By nature, however, infirmitatis humanae cardiora sunt remedia quam mala. Okay. So that's pretty straightforward. The remedies are slower in coming. The remedies of human infirmity, nonetheless, by nature, are slower in coming than the vices themselves. Okay. And then he says, at another upsick. So just as our bodies slowly grow, but are suddenly extinguished, so too, in Genia Studiaque, so novo practices, you shall oppress more easily than you recall them, than you bring them back.
So one thing, just a question. And so before this, we had a series of subjunctives, so we're sort of saying that thou never made things better, the Trajan is making things better, and the age gives us hope. Nevertheless, nature always has human weakness is always of the nature that people get weaker for whatever reason.
Well, it takes longer to grow something back than it does to destroy it.
Right.
If I go out to your garden and just pull up all the plants, it's going to take longer for you to grow them back than it did for me to destroy it. And that's
right. So it's like grammatically, it's like a series of adversatives, like though this, though that. This is still the case.
Yes, I think that all the subjunctives that we saw above are depending on the quam, and then he moves to this this Tom and clause where he can just come out of the subjunctive because he's just making this more slain. Okay? And then he saw, so just as our bodies grow slowly but are extinguished in a moment, so too, it's easier do you oppress good pursuits than you bring them back. And so now it gives another apposition. For one supposes as well that do kindle the sweetness of inertia itself, of just doing nothing, creeps upon one. Okay, and here this next phrase, a really wonderful juxtaposition of primo and postremo. So, and what was first hated, the laziness or the inactivity that was first hated later is loved. And we saw primo desidia, postremo amato.
So it's like two passives, one for verb, one for adjective.
Yeah, I mean, he loves these. He's imitating Thucydides in a way with this incoquinity and lack of parallel units joined together. Okay.
Yeah, but he does it by the word order, and it's a read. I've never read this before, so this is cool.
Oh, it's wonderful. And Brad Justin had asked me to read it because, like I said, I was reading the Cicero. And Cicero's wonderful, but it's so easy, It's just like you just read it, and you run into trouble every once in a while. But this is just a struggle from word one,
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I was like, can we go back to Caesar?
Yeah, exactly, okay. So here he starts. Okay, we got another half hour, so I think we can easily, maybe even get through 4, depending on what we can do here. So,
and I will just warn you, this is as far as I've gone, so this will all be new to me as we go.
Okay, so we'll just do we'll go through wait, I lost my place. Let's just go through 3 then and pick up next week, because this first bit was really hard, and there's no reason to hurry. There's no reason to rush, because I think we will definitely be able to pick up ground once we get to the narrative itself, because that moves that's just as much more straightforward as opposed to doing all this philosophizing and social criticism.
Well, before we go on, if you scroll back up to 2, I think it is. There's a maybe a little bit further up. Which I pointed it out. There was a great interlocked order in the text that I've lost it now.
Okay, well, yeah, it'll come back to you. Bring us back to it later.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing, to be able to, once you finally sort it out, then you can start noticing those things and paying a little more attention to them. Now this is very tricky through here. But now he's looking back at his life, and I just celebrated my 56th birthday last week, so I'm thinking a lot about, being a Senex and all this stuff. But anyway, so quid deconados. Justin, are you moving around and stuff?
No, there's the garbage disposal in the room.
Okay, can we kind of keep it quiet? Because like I said, this is going to be up on YouTube, and people are going to be watching it. We just don't need a lot of background. It'd be better if we didn't have a lot of background noise on. Okay, quid, si per quindecanos, grande mortalis avis spatium, multi, fortuitis casibus, promptissimus quisque, saevitia principis interciderat. Okay, so let's just stop right there and get this first part. Okay, so it's almost like I'm just trying to remember what this quid is really attaching to.
Why? Goes with weightingless at the end, doesn't it?
Hold on for a second. Okay, so it's saying quid say, etc. A rhetorical formula introducing a new and stronger argument by means of an appeal to the circumstance which either is the case, so was the indicative is here, or might easily have and the answer is left to be supplies. So it says, so he basically just simplifies it as, what if we had lost not only the inclination, but even the power to write by the destruction of the fittest and by their disuse? So I think it is really like, what would have happened if? Yeah, what would have happened if, per quindecim annos, over 15 years, and then here we get another apposition, a big space of mortal lifetime, a major part of the mortal lifetime, okay? And so we get this multi as our first subject, and then pauci builds upon it. And then, what if many people disappeared or died or many people died by natural circumstances, fortuities causibus, accidental circumstances, but protissimus quisque, the most talented people die saevititia princeps, by virtue of the savagery of the emperor. Okay? And then he goes to pauci, and what if a few, as I might say, and a few, as I might say, and this is the really tricky phrase. Non modo aliorum sed etiam nostri superstite sumus. It's not only a few of us have survived, not only others, but even, or not survived, but have outlived not only others, but even ourselves. So this nostri, took me a while to figure it out. It's the genitive, it's subjective genitive of the reflexive pronoun. What if a few of us have survived not only the others, but even we've outlived ourselves. And what he means is we've outlived our best days because during our prime, we were under Domitian and really just couldn't do anything of note. So the hold on, where can I get this? Yes, okay, so and we'll come back and look at this, guys. I just want to make a first pass. Okay. Exemptis a media vita tot annis. Okay. With so many years having been snatched from the middle of one's life, okay, and because during which years, from our manly prime to old age, okay, we have come perisilentium, with our mouths lift up, okay, nearly to old age itself, the end of a spent life, of a lived out life. So the note here is helpful because the note says with regard to euanaes, etc., that by old Roman law, a man passed from juniores to seniores after his 45th year. After his 50th year, he was not liable for military service. After his 60th, he was not required to attend the Senate. So it says Tacitus himself had passed from his 25th to his 40th year under Domitian. In a certain way, you would think he would be thinking that he lost his prime in a way under Domitian. And that seems to be what he's referring to when he says, what if some of us even survived ourselves? We outlived ourselves. What do you think about that, Paul?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, but it's very tricky. It's very tricky. Okay, so quid si per quindecim annos, grande mortalis avis patium, multi fortuitis causis, proptissimus quisque saevitia principis interciderunt, pauci et uditidicum, so to speak, non modo aliorum sed etiam nostri superstites sumus. So figuring out that nostri was a reflexive genitive, affective genitive was the hard part for me. And then it gives you this ablative absolute. So many years taken from the midst of life, from the middle part of life, years in which one moves from being a man in his prime to old age, and we have come almost to old age itself, the end of an exacted of a life lived out. We've come there, perisolentium, in a state of it says that perisolentium is used with merely the sense of silens, but here pericultum, silendo, with an instrumental force that we've lived, we've arrived by virtue of being silent. Is why we've managed to live this long.
That's like through our silence we managed to make it through.
Right. Yeah. We just kept our heads low.
Way to live. Yeah.
We just kept our heads low. Kept our mouth shut and tried not to upset anyone. So known common together.
Yeah, just to go back there.
Yes. I'm happy to go back, but I think that's probably the most difficult part of it.
Yeah, the multi fortuitis. Is it fortuitis or fortuitis casibus? In any case, a promptissimus quisque is in apposition to multi, isn't it?
No, because he's talking about two different people. We'd have a menendee here if it was Greek. So many people died in their beds. They died by natural causes. But the most active ones, they died by the viciousness of the emperor.
Okay, well here goes back to the quisque taking a plural verb.
Yes, the quisque taking a plural verb. Yeah, Tacitus likes that. Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's a tricky thing. So to speak, we even, some of us even outlived ourselves. Not only others, but ourselves. Okay. And then, so now we move to non condemnatives, and both my commentators said that this is just a litotes for you want, that it does good. I'm happy, so it does not, it's not an embarrassment, it does not cause regret. Even in condita et rude voce, and these are ablatives, with primitive and unskilled style, okay, to have composed a memory of our prior servitude and a testimonium of our present benefits, I guess, bonorum. I guess that makes sense. Okay, a record of our past slavery, right? And so I'm going to read the little note here because it's a good one. The passage shows that soon after Nerva's accession, Tacitus had formed the project of writing the histories, not however quite in the form in which they appear. The work is spoken of as intended to be, if not a monograph on Domitian, at least chiefly a history of his rule. And though he could not at that early date have projected a history of Nerva, still less Trajan, a testimonium of the happy change inaugurated was to come in as a climax and contrast. Okay? By the time the work was published, and I think he means the histories, it had grown into a complete history from Galba to Domitian, and the great subsequent era of Trajan, with the career of conquest opened out by it, was relegated to a separate work, and he says History 1:1, and ultimately abandoned. Okay, so often in these works we see the author, gesturing ahead to something he plans to do at the same time while he's announcing the work he's having in right now, just like Virgil would do in the Georgics and such, and gesture towards the Aeneid. Okay, so this last little bit. Hic interim liber honori agricolae docere destinatus, professione pietatis et laudatus erat aut excusatus. So, meanwhile, this book, okay, Destinatus, authored or committed or focused on the, what am I going to say? I hate to say honor, I would say, the esteemed career of Agricola, my father-in-law. So this work will either be praised as a statement of piety or at least excused. Okay. Okay. So
I have a question for you.
yes.
In the previous sentence, non tamen pigabit, well, in condita rudi voca. I'm not understanding that exactly in condita rudi voca.
Oh, well, our note says, my note for Ogilvy says, even in an uncouth and rough style. So these are ablatives of manner. Okay. Even in an uncouth and rough style, it will not be a matter of shame to put together the memory of both our prior servitude and a testimony of our present good fortune, or something like that.
So piget means is to.
Yeah, pigabit. Pigabit. I think it means to. I didn't look it up, but be a matter of regret. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, piget. It irks, it pains, it afflicts, it grieves, it disgusts. It causes to repent, it makes sorry. Okay? So it's really just a litotes.
So it's kind of like Pinacus.
Right. Yeah, he could have used that. Okay, exactly. And both my commentaries said that pigabit, non pigabit is litotes for uabit. It makes one happy to have composed a testimony, even if it's somewhat rough and rude. Okay. So I guess false modesty, because Tacitus is well aware of his, of his skill as a writer. Okay. So this next bit is kind of straightforward. So since do we want to just maybe do a couple more sentences, because we technically have 12 more minutes. We promised to go for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so this
I'll be able to catch up with what we had.
Yeah, okay. So now the narrative, that's the end of the introduction. Now the narrative starts straightforward. Gnaeus Julius Agricola, okay? And then now, so we need Ortus, Vetera, and Illustri, okay, so this is just saying where he was born. So born in an old and illustrious military town. And what do they say about this place? It says this place is
it's in the south of France, at Fréjus.
Yes, exactly. It's in the south of France.
Forum Julii. Julius Caesar's forum.
Right. F-R-E-J-U-S?
Yeah.
What's the acronym? F-R-E-J-U-S? I don't know where that is, but
it's between Marseille and Nice.
Okay, very good. Okay, so that's where we are, okay? And Habut, he had I guess both of his grandfathers to be did service under Caesar, were imperial. It says Caesarum is of more than one Caesar, and he's meant here Augustus and Tiberius. So they were both of the grandfathers did service under Tiberius and Augustus, and quae equestris nobilitas est, which was a noble equestrian office. So procuratum, no one's saying exactly what that would have been, but here it goes. It says that the tenure of the greater procuratorships held by equites after serving as officers in the army, such as those carrying with them the government of lesser imperial provinces or control of finance in the greater provinces or in group provinces, was considered to confer distinction on their holders, just as in Republican times, the attainment of curule office by plebeians gave nobility to their families. So, these are just, I guess, upper mid-level offices in the provinces. Okay, and so Pater Eli Julius Ricinus.
How are you taking the quiet equestris nobilitas as, which is as a distinction of the equestrian class?
Yes. My commentator says, which is a noble equestrian office. So remember, nobilitas can mean, can't it really refer to an office?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think nobilitas can actually refer to an office itself. I'm just going to look it up here. I love to look up words. Nobilitas.
Yeah, I have to do some short. I can look it up.
Well, they're not actually saying that, but
They're saying celebrity, fame, renown,
right.
a higher food, birth, nobility, noble or excellent, quality, nobleness, excellence, superiority.
Right, so it must be, which is an equestrian excellence or, attainment, something like that.
Or simply distinction.
Yeah, I think that's where we want to go, which is an equestrian distinction. Because remember, there's that famous guy who, you won nobility by attaining office. So I think that's basically the idea. That it was something that equestrians could attain to as a mark of nobility. Okay?
Yeah.
And then we get Pater Ilius Ricinus, Senatory Ordinance. Okay, so the father to that one, and it has to be Agricola, was Julius Ricinus of the senatorial order. Okay, and then notus studio eloquentiae sapientiaque. So straightforward, known, famous for his practice of both eloquence and wisdom. Okay. And then what did you say, Justin?
Sorry, I got dropped by the internet, but I'm back now. So
okay, good. Okay, so we have a straightforward ablative, tentative, modifying them, coupled back way, and then the notus. So known for his enthusiasm or his practice of both eloquence and wisdom. And then he flips the coin. That's the light side. Here's the darkness. He's quite ipse virtutibus, iram, Gai Caesaris Meritus. Okay.
Yeah, meritus.
Worthy of, by these very virtues, the wrath of Gaius Caesar. Okay. So for these very reasons, he merited the wrath, the anger. He won the anger of Caligula. Okay.
Here, meritus means simply having incurred.
Meritus means just simply incurred. Very good. Okay, meritus, having occurred. Very good.
Not having incurred.
Incurred. That's what I meant.
Anger. Gaius. This is Caligula.
Right. This is Caligula. Okay. And so now he explains what happened. Namque Marcum Silanum accusare usus et quia abnueret interfectus est. Okay, so this once he starts narrating, it gets considerably easy. he was killed having been ordered to make an accusation against Marcus Silanus because he had refused. Okay? So that's all pretty straightforward. And then he switches to his mother, Mater Julia Fortila Fuit, okay, Rarai Kas Tacitus, your genitive of quality, a woman of extraordinary or, superlative womanly virtue. Okay? And Vias Senu Indulgentiaque. So here again, he links together with que these, what do we have? Senus, which is, and then this first declension. So in the indulgent lap of her, he transaget, he has his boyhood and youth, per omnem honestarum artium cultum, having been introduced or shaped or cultivated, groomed by every good pursuit.
So are you going to take sinu indulgentia as a kind of is that a sugma?
Yeah, no, I think they want. He wants to take it. It says best taken as hendiades.
Okay.
Hendiades, under her loving care. I mean, that's how they translate. Under her loving care. And Vias Senu. Yeah. So the note says.
So indulgentia is also depending on in.
Yes, both of those are ablatives. Both seno and indulgentia are ablatives, dependent on in. Okay.
So it's very visual because in Quia Sinu gives you the image of the young child around the mother's dress, and then in indulgentia is the concern that she shows.
Yeah, it's very nice. I mean, if you look at it, the way the sentence works, it actually, you can see him. Sinu, he's an infant. Indulgentia, he's a toddler. You get what I'm saying? Brought up, okay, and then finally he's a boy, and now he's a young man. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really quite beautifully laid out. Almost to show his whole growing up.
Indulgentia, of course, applies to his mother, Aquila. So,
right. No. Specifically, that's what it's referred to, because it says indulgentia has often a bad sense when it's used for parental tenderness in several places. For a mother thus to bring up her child herself instead of putting it out to nurse is spoken of as an old custom becoming uncommon. So he mentions a couple places in other works by Livy, Juvenal, etc. So the very fact that she actually cared for the kid and brought him up means a big deal. Okay, so let's stop right here so we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. But I think we made good progress considering that these opening sections are so kind of dense. And
now I'd like to just go back and reread the whole passage for you, just so that we have a clear, so you have a fluid experience of the whole passage that we worked through, kind of, and broke it up into all of its little bits. So I'm going to go back now and reread all 3 chapters for you, just so you have a united, coherent experience of it. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Clarorum virorum factum oresque posteris tradere antiquitus usitatum ne nostris quidem temporibus quamquam incuriosa suorum aetas omissit. Quotiens magna aliquac nobilis virtus vicit ac supergressa est vitium parvis magisque civitatibus commune, ignorantiam recti et invidia. Sed apud priores, ut agera digna memoratu, pronum magisque in aperto erat, ita celeberimus quisque ingenio, ad prodendam virtutis memoriam sine gratia aut ambitione, bonae tantum conscientiae pretio ducebantur. Ac plerique, suam ipsi vitam narrare, fidiciam potius morum quam adrogantiam arbitrati sunt, nec id rutilio et scaro, qui trafidem aut obtractatione fuit, adeo virtutes istem temporibus optima aestimantur, quibus facilime dignuntur. Ac nunc narraturo mihi vitam defuncti hominis venia opus fuit, quam non petissim incusaturus. Tam saeva et infesta virtutibus tempora. Legimus, cum aureleno rustico paetius Thracia, a regno senexioni priscus Helvetius laudati esset, capitala fuisse, neque in ipsos modo actores, set in libros quoque erorum saevitium, delegato triumviris ministerio ut monumento clarissimorum ingeniorum in comitio ac foro urenter. Scilicet illo igne vocem populi Romani et libertatem senatus et conscientiam generis Romani aboleri arbitrantur. Expulsis in super sapientiae professoribus, atque omni bona arte in exilia acta, ne quid usquam honestum occurreret. Dedimus profecto grande patientiae documentum, et sicut vetus aetas vidit quid ultimam in libertate esset, ita nos quid in servitute. Adempto per inquisitiones etiam loquendi audiendique commercio. Memoriam quoque ipsam cum voce per decimus citam in nostra potesta esset oblivisci quam tacere. Nunc denum redit animus. Et quamquam primo statem beatissimi saeculiortu, neva Caesar res olim dissociabilis miscuerit, principitatum et libertatum, augeatque quotidie felicitatem temporum nera Traianus, nec spem modo ac votum securitas publica, sed ipsius voti fiduciam ad robor absum seret. Natura, tamen, infirmitatis humanae tardiora sunt remedia quam mala, ed ut corpora nostra lente augescunt, cito extinguntur, sic ingenia studiaque oppresseris facilius quam revocaveris. Subit quippe etiam ipsius inertia ducedo, et in visa primo desidia postremo amatur. Quid si, per quindecim annos, grande mortalis aevis patium, multi fortuitis causibus, proptissimus, quisque saevitia principes interciderunt, pauci et, utita dixerum, non modo aliorum sed etiam nostri superstites sumus. Exemplis e media vita totanis, quibus juvenes ad senectutem senes propri ad ipso exactae aetatis terminos per silentium venimus. Non tamen pigabit, vel incondita ac rude voce memoriam prioris servitutis ac testimonium praesentium bonorum composuisse, hic iterum liber honori agricolae sociri mei destinatus, professione pietatis aut laudatus erit aut excusatus. Gnaeus Julius Agricola vetere et illustri foro Juliensum colonia ortus, utrumque avum procuratorem Caesarem habuit, quae equestris nobilitas est. Pater illi Julius Graecinus, senatorii ordinis, studio eloquentiae sapientiae quae notus, iisque ipsis virtutibus eram Gaius Caesarus meritus, namque Marcum Silanum accusare iusus, et quia abnuerat interfectus est. Mater Julia Porcia fuit rarae castitatis, in huius sinu indulgentiaque educatus, per omnem honestarum artium cultum, per pueritiam adolescentiamque transegit. Okay, well, that concludes our view of the first 3 chapters of the Agricola, and I thank you for listening, and hope you will tune into the remainder of our offerings. Okay. Okay, so that's our retake of the first one. Hopefully the screen held on the text of Tacitus, so you'll be able to enjoy it a bit more with more pleasure. And again, this is an offering of Detroit Greek and Latin, a 501(c) nonprofit dedicated to bringing philological excellence. If I can pat myself on the back, my Berkeley degree, or my teachers at Berkeley, they most certainly were excellent. I can only represent my own failings to imbibe their genius. But nevertheless, this is the best I can do, and I offer it to you. Okay, good luck and be well. See you next week.